Hi, welcome to Take a Pew. I'm Leanne Johnson.
And I'm Gavin Knox, and today we have Ambrose Reynolds with us. Hi, Ambrose.
How you doing?
You're here today to talk about the bombed out church.
That's right, yeah.
Can you tell us the history of how you ended up working there? Or
It's kind of a long story, but
Tell us.
yeah. I used to walk past with my mum and my dad because my mum had a market stall in St John's Market, in the old St John's Market, and we used to walk past the church and I used to drive her crazy saying, why has it got no roof? Who bombed it? Why did they bomb it? And so I learned all about the Blitz and World War II and Hitler and all of that stuff, and all the stuff my mum had gone through in the Blitz through walking past that church. And I used to say to her, one day I'll work there and I'll do something really good with it.
oh, did you really say that?
Yeah, I really did. No word of a lie. And years later, I've been a musician all my life and just touring around. And I think when I was on tour in Spain, and we were in a service station just in the middle of nowhere in Spain, and we just stopped for a cup of tea and fill it with petrol, and I saw 9/11 happening live on the TV, and I said to the guy, what's this? I thought it was a Bruce Willis movie or something. And he said, oh, New York. And I was like, what's going on? And when I saw the reaction to people to the destruction of the Twin Towers, and you see the shock and the horror that people displayed of that one act of bombing, it made me think about back home. And when I got back home, it made me think, well, that's what happened in Liverpool, and it happened to the whole city was bombed like that. And there's St Luke's that was hit by a firebomb in 1941 in the May Blitz, and then it's still there, it's still standing, it's still strong. And I thought, it's time to keep my promise to my mum and actually do something with the space. So I approached the council, and they looked at me like I was totally crazy. They still do, and said, I'd like to do, we're making a sound archive interviewing people that lived through the Blitz and getting it all in a computer and on disc. And we want to do an exhibition around the railings of St Luke's, and that was back in 2003. And I've done that every year for 11 years.
What was it like before you started working there, or when you first?
I remember walking past St Luke's in the 80s and the 90s, and it was like a dangerous place to go. You'd cross the street, you wouldn't walk past it.
So it didn't have the nice garden or anything?
It had the garden, but it was really scary. A lot of people were, there was a few girls were raped in there because they were cutting through into the gardens one evening, and there was a gang there, and they gang raped her. It was a horrible thing, and that happened a few times. That's why they locked the gates at 6 o'clock every day, because just to stop that from happening. People used to get murdered and robbed there. The inside of the church was actually a crack den for quite a long time. They took the door off the hinges, and they were all in there. Even the police wouldn't go near it because it was just too scary. And when I finally got inside back in 2007, we just had to clear millions and millions of junkie needles, just thousands and thousands of them. Found one today when we were gardening and putting in this bamboo tree, and it was like, God, there's another syringe.
Do you often find them just?
When we first started back in 2007, you'd have 2 dozen from the night before that they just thrown through the windows. It was all blood and stuff inside them because they do it in and out or something, because it makes it more.
So it didn't have any security on or anything? It's just very open?
Yeah, people just used to climb in and
do
a
whatever they
load of
wanted,
drugs, rob a load of people, and then go home again. And year by year it got to be less and less needles, and just finding one today from a long time ago, it kind of brought all that back. Then I was doing the exhibition, then we did a show that was based on the sound archive that we'd done, and we did that with Wirral Youth Theatre. I don't think they're going anymore, but they were brilliant because they got young people to engage in theatre and really take part in it and be directors and do lighting and do tech and do stage management as well as being the actors. And they put together a whole show based on the sound archive that we'd recorded, and it was a lovely show. We did that for 3 nights, and we got a grant to put it on. And then when it finished, it was kind of like, it'd be great to keep doing stuff in here. It's such a great space. It'd be great to keep it going.
And that was Strawberry Urban Lunch.
Urban Strawberry Lunch.
Urban Strawberry Lunch.
Got it.
Urban Strawberry Lunch. And how long when did you start in the Bond Out Church with Urban Strawberry Lunch?
That would be 2003 doing the exhibitions. The first show inside was 2006 with Wirral Youth Theatre. And then we opened it regularly to the public 5 days a week from 2007 to present day. And
what different type of events have you held in there?
Like really very diverse, I guess is the word, range of events. Like we had, the big one was like Yoko Ono with sky ladders for John kind of thing, that was a bit strange. She's lovely, but she's weird. She's a bit strange.
What happened to Urban Strawberry Lunch anyway?
We folded in April this year because we were funded by the Arts Council, and that money was cut in 2012, and we did our best to carry on. But really, if you're doing workshops, what we used to do is music on bits of old rubbish and bits of scrap metal and stuff, and we go out to places where nobody ever goes to, places without signposts, because nobody ever leaves the area, all around the world, but mainly around Britain as well, and going out to all these little estates, where people think that the music and stuff is all about stars in their eyes, X Factor. They think that is the whole world, and it's like, no, you can make music on anything. Look, there's a kitchen sink. Beat the hell out of that. And
when funding was cut, was there a reason, or simply just cut?
The reason, everyone that was under 30,000 a year was cut, like that, and we were asking for like 28, something like that. So it was like, if somebody said, look lads, ask for £3 more, or we were in all right, but because we didn't know that, it was like a kind of secret, and that we were like surplus to requirements. But I think since the demise of Urban Strawberry Lunch, it's really helped to focus my whole energy on St Luke's, the Bombed Out Church, and to really make that happen.
I think the Bombed Out Church really is the beating heart of Liverpool. Like every time you walk past, you always just hear something happening. It's so vibrant. You're sometimes on Bold Street and hear some music or some noise, and
it's just a lot of culture, isn't it, going on in there?
Yeah, but it's like the people's culture. It's not culture that this is culture.
Commercialised. It's just for people.
The other week we had a Jesuit priest from the Philippines, and he did. It's on that picture actually. The sunflowers. He put like hundreds of plastic sunflowers in these poles, but the way it happened was he put all the poles in the ground, and then as the visitors came in, they were given a plastic sunflower, and they said, make a wish, or you can say a prayer. And so each time somebody put one of those in, there was a positive wish happening. So he came in and started doing that. Then he did a Catholic mass at the beginning of it, because he's a priest. So I was like, okay, do a Catholic mass. And then half an hour later, we had a heavy metal festival.
So it's just really random.
So it was like, okay, we're going from Catholic mass to heavy metal festival. The following day, we had an orchestra and a choir in. And it was like, God, it's a really strange venue where you can have all these different things, from dance music with DJs to bands, to like big bands, like, well, I'd never heard of them, but I'm old. The Kooks, have you heard of the Kooks?
Yeah.
They played there during Sound City, and they were like, massive, and the whole place was packed out. It looked like Glastonbury's arms in the air like this.
So what's your reaction then when you heard all these rumours about it turning into a hotel or a wedding venue?
I need a cup of tea for this one. I need something stronger. I found out about it through... No one in the council approached me, even though I've been there like regularly 7 years, day in, day out, making it happen. I opened the Echo, and there it was, page 3 of the Echo, Bombed Out Church to be a hotel.
So no one even told you before?
Nobody even said anything, and it's like nobody even gave me a tip off or anything, and it was like, to me that felt like a real slap in the face. That's like, definitely, these people do not care. I think when it gets complicated is when the politicians start interfering and say, "Oh, I think you should." I don't think rock music is appropriate in the Bombed Out Church, and you're like, well, maybe not appropriate to you, but come tomorrow and we've got a choir and an orchestra. We've got a ladies' choir from Holland singing. You might like that better, and you might find that more appropriate. But this crowd right now feel that this is appropriate, and they're enjoying this concert, and they're giving money that will keep the church going. And then tomorrow is your day, you know, and they might not think that your thing's appropriate. Exactly. Who are we to judge what isn't appropriate? I mean, obviously I wouldn't have burlesque or pole dancers or put a roulette table on the altar, you know. I wouldn't do that. That is definitely not appropriate. But I think when you start making aesthetic choices about it, then you're saying your beard's not long enough, or you need to dress like this, or you can't say or think that. And I think we live in an egalitarian society where there is a freedom of choice. And I think it's really important to maintain that rather than dictating that's not right and that's what you should be doing all the time, you know.
How many visitors a year does the Bombed Out Church get?
On average, we get about 700 a week.
Really?
Something like that. We get hundreds every day. Obviously, it's more in the summer, slightly less in the winter, but people still come in the winter. It's proper cold in there in the winter. Like November in the Bombed Out Church, it's like freezing cold. But people will still sit down and watch a movie in 10 below zero, which is incredible. You ever seen It's a Wonderful Life?
I actually haven't. I should have seen it though.
Like, come and watch it this year in the Bombed Out Church. 2 years ago we showed it, and there's a scene where it's snowing in the movie and it's all like really cold and bleak, and he's about to throw himself off the bridge and commit suicide. Jimmy Stewart, the hero, and he gets saved by an angel, and everyone's watching this scene, and then all of a sudden you look up and it's snowing on everybody in the audience. So you're watching snow on the screen going, it's snowing on us. And that movie is 2 hours 10 minutes long, and it snowed the whole time. And we get them all blankets and all sat in chairs. And by the end of it, it was just faces, just covered in snow. And they said that what happened was when the snow went over them, it kind of made them warmer because it had like layers on. So the snow actually made it possible to sit through the movie.
Do you get like a lot of tourists that'll come over to you not realising that it's been bombed?
Yeah, they walk in and they think it's a church. And they go, oh, there is no roof. And you go, like, you did that. Decor by Hitler, you know, it's like he did this for us. Americans find it very strange, but then again they can relate to it because of 9/11 now. We had some people from Egypt came in and they said, did the Americans do this? Because in their culture, who's the people that drop bombs? It's the Americans. And to them, they were like, the Germans, but they're so nice. And it's like, well, back then, they were going through a major change and going through fascism. We know about this. So they could relate to it on that level.
And you mentioned as well ghost hunters coming every week? Or?
Oh, yeah. This couple, they're lovely. And they come knock on the
same couple every week?
Yeah. Can we go in your crypt again? Yeah, God. I locked them in the other week. I forgot to do it.
They probably loved it.
And there was this... What's that knocking going on? Can you let us out? And I was like, God, I've locked them in the crypt. That was great.
Did they find anything?
They came out last week. They came out very happy. So
must have found something.
Yeah, I mean, it takes all sorts, and that's, to me, that's the beauty of the Bombed Out Church. Is it like with the thing with what's appropriate and what isn't? It means so many different things to so many different people.
It's not just the events attracting people, really, is it? Yeah,
and like I was saying when I was a lad, that's how most kids in Liverpool, in South Central Liverpool, that's how they learn about the war and the Blitz too. It wasn't just my story, it's everybody's story. And that everybody has that deep-seated affection for the space because it's a real survivor. Like Liverpool, you throw all kinds of stuff at it and it still stands, it still remains strong, and, and a great-looking church,
Yeah. So what have you been doing anyway to try to keep it out of developers' hands?
We've started a crowdfunder thing. I had no idea what, because something to do with the interweb. Like,
technology.
I've heard of the interweb, where you can pledge money online. Yeah. You have a certain time limit that you can do it in. I think ours was like a month or something like that, or a month and a half. And you set a target. Our target is 18,000, which isn't massive, but it's quite big for a crowdfunder. I mean, it's kind of near the top scale of things. And you pledge money. If you reach the target within the limit, you get the money that you've asked for. You can exceed the limit as well, which is good. But if you don't reach the target in the time, you get nothing.
What do you currently have at the moment?
We're on about 9,500.
And how long have you got left?
We've got about 8 days. Less, actually. It's about a week.
Do you promote it in any way, like on the internet, to just get it out there?
On the interweb, you mean?
I went to say interweb. That's why I went interweb.
Interweb.
Yeah, there's like a Twitter for the Bombed Out Church, or like a Facebook
at
called...
Bombed Out Church is our Twitter.
Yeah.
And the Facebook is called the Bombed Out Church -official.
And is that where you promote the crowds fund?
Yeah. Or you can go to the crowdfunder page, or you can go to bombedoutchurch.com, which is, I love that. But that's a page that we just bought the domain name.
Yeah.
Is that what you call
yeah.
it? Yeah. What you young people call it. We just bought the domain name and we just put a link to the crowdfunder. So if you go to bombedoutchurch.com, you can just click on the link and go straight to it.
Yeah, thanks for coming anyway.
Thank you very much.
It's nice talking to you.
Lovely to meet you.
Cheers. Nice to meet you.
And I hope your crowdfunding as well reaches its targets.
Cheers.
Yeah, everybody crowdfund.
Yeah.
18 grand.
It's not that much.